He gave instructions to the captain
Yes.
to sink the Titanic. And why did they sink the Titanic, Lenny?
Because 3 of the richest and most important men in the world, Guggenheim, Strauss, and who's head of the Macy's department store, and John Jacob Astor, the wealthiest man in the world, blocked the Vatican Bank's takeover of the American banking system.
Those 3 men were worth $500 million.
At the time.
And that would have been like billions and billions in this era. I mean, they were so wealthy. So their families were wiped out, basically, on that ship.
Yeah, the J.P. Morgan, as it says in the book, Bill Hughes's book, J.P. Morgan was ordered, and is substantiated by other writers, Eric Phelps, etc. J.P. Morgan was ordered by the Jesuits to build the Titanic. This unsinkable ship would serve as the death ship for those who opposed the Jesuit plan for a Federal Reserve System. So, and of course, Eustace Mullins, we had an interview. Sherman and I did a number of shows with him, and of course, he was a student of Ezra Pound's, and Pound was thrown in jail by the Warburg family because he knew that the Fed was a private bank and not owned by the people. So they threw him in jail. They wouldn't let him speak to a lawyer.
Well, you know, it's all out in the open now, but there's no money left anyway, so they just keep printing more, don't they, those families? I mean, it's called a Federal Reserve note.
The really is here, the new Assyrians.
It's absolutely
right?
here, isn't it?
We're watching the making of a new Assyria in Europe, and a new modernized Assyria decked with dictators and a Caesar, and a modernized Babylon is also being constructed right before our eyes, and that's why all that money is going to Baghdad, and all that money is going into the war effort. They're rebuilding Baghdad now.
Well,
the Babylon and the Pergamum.
Actually, it's in Berlin, in the Pergamon Museum, and they've reconstructed the gates, and basically all of Babylon.
Now, aren't
I mean, most of the walls.
those gates back to Babylon?
They probably will move them back, but they're rebuilding it now. And I do recall that several months ago I stated that it was being built off-site.
Isn't this what?
So isn't it being built off-site?
Yeah, isn't this what Dubai is all about?
Exactly.
This is the lightning rod for how they're financing this new Babylon there, in Babylon, the old Baghdad.
Yeah, it's the old Baghdad.
You know, the old Baghdad.
They're taking bags of money there.
Well, we're told the Fed moved a printing press there. They've moved the printing press. They've got a printing press that they print American money from in Baghdad. So that's the next step to build the Babylon system.
So they make sure the thing's going to sink. It hits the iceberg, they keep going. They don't stop. And according to one particular report, the guy who was at the wheel swung the ship to broadside so it would hit the iceberg, and you never expose your broadside of your ship to any danger. You only take it on the nose. They violated basic safety procedures because they wanted to sink that ship. And so they sunk it. And all those innocent poor people died. And as a result, then, the Jesuits were able to ram through their Federal Reserve Act the following year, because Titanic went down in 1912, 1913, December 23rd, 2 nights before Baal Mass, when all of our congressmen should have been there, who were Bible-believing men.
Right.
Busy homes celebrating the Merry Mass of Christ. Federal Reserve Act is put through, and that is the beginning of the end for us financially. So back to 1929. What happens in 29? 3 Irish Catholics crash the stock market, and the Pope goes in with his Jesuits, and they buy it for pennies on the dollar. Now the Vatican has our entire industrial complex in its pocket, so that it now can extend credit out of thin air from its Federal Reserve Bank to all the military industrial contractors, Boeing, Lockheed, McDonnell Douglas, Chrysler, Ford, all of them, so that they can have huge military contracts to not only arm the U.S., but they're going to arm Germany and they're going to arm Russia. Remember, this American government, controlled by the Pope, has built the entire Soviet war machine and made you pay for it every April 15th. By the way, April 15th. April 15th. Where are the eyes of April? April 15th is when Lincoln died. The one who would have ended consolidation. April 15th is when Lincoln called out troops against the Protestant South. April 15th is when Titanic went to the bottom of the ocean. And you know how the Jesuits celebrate their April 15th? All the slaves in North America get to file income tax returns and pay income tax on their labor, on their wages.
They get to fill out a 1040.
They get to fill out a 1040.
Which was an extension of the 1040 bonds that Lincoln established to finance Project.
Is that right?
10-year, 40-year bonds.
The 10-year, 40-year bonds. Wow.
Just a coincidence.
Isn't it? So that's what they've done. And so the Jesuits have a big hearty har laugh about that. Look at all the lemmings running to the IRS to file their tax returns every April 15th, and I'll bet they don't even know the IRS is a private corporation. I bet they don't even know that the Federal Reserve is a private bank. All those idiots think it's part of the federal government. They laugh at us. They think we're fools and idiots. And for the most part, they're right.
You know the best thing in life is free. For you can give it to the birds and bees. I want some money.